Study Supplement source. Today, let's review the Bible. How to navigate the narrative of the Bible. The Bible Project 2.0. Start in the beginning, the creation story. The Garden of Eden and the creation of man, or Adam. Then there was rebellion in the garden. This resulted in the seeds, Cain and Abel, but also Seth. Wickedness fills the earth, but Noah and his family find grace. A covenant with man is made with Noah and family. The people multiply and build cities and attempt to build a tower to reach the heavens. They are scattered throughout the entire earth and divided into families. The children of Shem, Eber, Peleg, Nea, Terah, and essentially, Abram become elected. And in this, the Almighty Creator chooses Abram for a specific purpose. Abram is directed to leave his father's house to a land he would be shown. The land was the land of Canaan. While he lived in Canaan, there was a war between the kings. Abram became a victor in this war by saving his nephew Lot and retrieving the people of Sodom. For this, he was enriched by Melchizedek, who was Shem, his great ancestor. The Almighty Creator makes a covenant with Abram regarding having plenty of children and inheriting plenty of land. Interlude, the Hagar and Ishmael or Ismael situation. Back to the narrative. A promised child, Isaac, who is Isaac in the scriptures, is made, also a warning of the coming destruction of the cities Sodom and Gomorrah. Also, the covenant of the circumcision is made to confirm the previous covenants. Interlude, Sodom destroyed and the Moab and Ammon situation. Back to the narrative. The birth of Isaac and the dismissal of Hagar and Ishmael took place. This is followed by the sad transition of Mother Sarah, wife of Abram. Following this, a wife was sought for Isaac. She was Rebekah, from Paddan-aram. In addition to Isaac getting married, Abram remarried. Abram married a woman named Keturah and had several children. Isaac and Rebekah have twin boys, Jacob, known as Jacob in the scriptures, and Esau.
In the process of time, Esau passed the family will and testament, as well as all the endowments and covenants to Jacob. He also sent Jacob to Paddan-aram, to the house of Laban to find a wife. Jacob stayed in the house of Laban and married his daughters, Rachel and Leah, the elder. Rachel and Leah bid for Jacob's love using childbearing as the bidding tool. After 12 children, Jacob leaves Paddan-aram back home to Canaan. Before reaching Canaan, he reunites with Esau and they make peace. Jacob and his family lived in Canaan when Benjamin was born. Jacob now with a total of 13 children, 12 sons, and 1 daughter. Interlude, the family of Esau generations provided and the Judah, and Tamar situation. Back to the narrative, Joseph in the scriptures, and his brother's story, and their introduction to Egypt. Joseph was sold into Egypt by his brothers and endured one of the most heart-wrenching stories of humility to honor. Once honored, he sent for his father, Jacob, to come live in Egypt since he was now viceroy. Joseph has 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, in the scriptures Manasseh and Ephraim. Jacob spiritually adopts them both as his own. Jacob also endows Ephraim as the one to be the family chief. Jacob also prophesies over his sons regarding their descendants in the latter days. Then Jacob transitions and the family blossoms into a small nation living within the nation Egypt. The people of Jacob were also known as the people of Abantu or Bantu, meaning the father's people or the house of the divine, respectively. This is called Hebrew and even Israel in our Bibles. While they were multiplying in Egypt, the government and people of Egypt were planning on controlling and even executing many of them. They, the Bantu of Jacob, began to suffer in Egypt immensely. Thus the Almighty Creator sent them a deliverer, Moses, along with his brother, Aaron. It is during this time that the Creator reveals his name to Moses, who asks,
The Almighty tells Moses to tell the Bantu, I am, sent you to them. The I am that I am is a transliteration from the original Aramaic Bantu language. This name is Sonini Nanini, in other words, tell them Sonini sent you to them. Pharaoh claimed to have never heard of this mighty one. And thus plagues ravaged Pharaoh and Egypt until they released the people of Akobe. Ordinances were established to commemorate this event. Like the Passover, it was instituted at the last deadly plague, the death of the firstborns. The house of Akobe leaves Egypt and a mixed multitude of nations with them, in dramatic fashion. They journey through the wilderness, surviving attacks by Egypt, Amalek, and their own doubts. Moses was visited by Jethro, his father-in-law, who provided provisions for Moses to lead well. And then finally, Sonini Nanini visits the house of Akobe on Mount Sinai, again in dramatic fashion. On Mount Sinai, the Almighty Creator Sonini Nanini scared the people nearly to death as he provided the 10 Commandments to them. However, after promising to do all they were commanded when Moses went into the cloud to meet with the Almighty Sonini Nanini, the people rebelled, reverting to the gods of Egypt, and commanded Aaron to make a golden calf to represent the gods of Egypt. The rebellion led the Almighty Creator to establish a lower priesthood, the Levitical order, to re-establish order. Interlude, the Book of Levi or Leviticus. Back to the narrative. The people of Akobe sent 12 men to spy the land of Canaan and bring back a report. They returned, but 10 of the leaders had a negative report stating they wouldn't be able to take the land. Caleb and Joshua in the scriptures, from the tribes of Judah and Joseph report they could and should. The negative response by the leaders of that generation sentenced them to 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. Everyone over the age of 20 would not come into the promised land, except Moses, Joshua, and Caleb.
During this time many things happened, such as they warred with the Midianites who taught Moab to distress Akobe. It came to the time they were supposed to take the land of Canaan. The tribes of Gad, Reuben, and half of Manasseh desired the land east of the Jordan. They are granted their request as long as they help the other tribes claim their lands. Moses is near his time of transition and gives his final messages to the people. The message was clear: obey the voice of the Almighty Sonini Nonini. Keep his commands and teach them to your children. And force the Canaanite nations out of the land, destroy their things, make no agreements with them, and make no marriages with them. Good and evil are up to you. There are consequences for both, dire for the latter. Joshua is then appointed as the leader of the Bantu people of Akobe. Moses also presents the latter-end prophecy over the people of Akobe, by tribe or family. Then the Bantu begin the invasion into the western states of Canaan. They take Jericho at Joshua's command, then Ai and Bethel. However, the Canaanites of Gibeon finesse the leaders of Akobe into a league and Joshua is forced to let them leave. The Bantus capture the northern towns and many others. They divide the land as outlined by Moses before his transition. In the process of time, Joshua is now old and he gives his final speech and instructions. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that thou may observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or the left, that thou may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage, don't be afraid, nor dismayed, for the Almighty thy Creator is with you wherever you go. So the house of Akobe prepared to take more lands of inheritance. However, the Almighty Creator did not dispel all the Canaanites. He left them because the people did not listen, and also for Canaan to become thorns in their sides. The house of Akobe lived by the judges of Akobe in an again-off-again relationship with the Almighty Sonini. A man named Elkanah and his wife Hannah are living at the tail end of the days of the judges when they sought a child. Elkanah and his wife Hannah were granted a son, Samuel. The Almighty Sonini called Samuel to be his prophet for that generation. The people realized the Almighty was visiting them because they recognized Samuel as a prophet. Therefore, the people of Akobe returned to the Almighty Sonini through Samuel. However, their desire for a king like the other nations dismissed the Almighty Sonini as their king, which was a precursor that led to another downfall. Saul from the family of Benjamin was elected by Almighty Sonini to be their visible king. However, Saul felt too much pressure from the people and was unable to live up to being king over the Almighty Sonini's people. Samuel was then sent to the house of Jesse, Essi. Dawidi, known as David in the scriptures, was anointed by Samuel to be king over Sonini's people. Dawidi did well. He destroyed the Philistines' champion, Goliath, which made him famous. A little too famous for King Saul's liking. Dawidi and Jonathan, known as Jonathan in the scriptures, Saul's son, become great brothers despite Saul's actions. Saul became an enemy of Dawidi, and many mighty men and people began to follow Dawidi. Eventually, Saul and Jonathan were killed in battle by the Philistines. Dawidi became king over Judah or Judah. King Dawidi ruled 7 years over Judah before becoming king over all the tribes or families of Akobi.
King Dawidi had great military accomplishments like capturing all of Jerusalem and disposing of remaining Canaanites. However, in his personal life, King Dawidi made a terrible mistake with Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. The adultery with Bathsheba troubled the king's house, even harming some of his children. Towards the end of his reign, King Dawidi had his son Solomon anointed to be king. The Almighty Sonini increased King Solomon's wisdom to the highest among men on the earth. King Solomon used this wisdom to fortify the kingdom with peace, knowledge of the Almighty, prosperity, wealth, and palaces, along with a massive temple dedicated to the Almighty Sonini Nanini. The kingdom attracted kings and queens, all who came to see Solomon, including the Queen of Sheba, to see the glory. In all this glory and splendor, King Solomon transgressed against the Almighty Creator. His transgression caused enemies to be formed against him. One of Solomon's enemies was a man named Jeroboam of Ephraim. Jeroboam, or Jeroboam, of Ephraim was anointed to become the king over the departed house of Akobi. Yes, the kingdom of Akobi became divided into two kingdoms, the kingdoms of Judah and Ephraim. Jeroboam immediately made religious changes in Ephraim. He discontinued service to the Almighty Sonini and made the people serve Baal instead. There was still light in Judah because the Levites remained, but even they were not strong in their devotion to the Almighty Sonini Nanini. Eventually, both kingdoms, Judah and Ephraim, removed themselves from following the Almighty Sonini, who was written in the scriptures as the God of Israel. Prophets were sent to their kings, princes, priests, and common people to help them reform. However, it was to no avail. The people were stiff-necked and stubborn. The house of Akobi of Ephraim was taken into captivity by the Assyrians. Only the house of Judah remained. When King Josiah, or Josiah, was king, he reformed the people.
He gave them the law and had the Levites teach the people in the land, much as the good kings before him did. Kings Hezekiah, Jehoshaphat, Asa, and Dawidi himself. During Josiah's rule, the sealed book of the law was found in Jerusalem. Yet, in all of this good, Judah still rebelled after his death. They were heavily influenced by the rebellious people and their gods, the gods chosen by Ephraim, Aram, which is Syria, and the Assyrians. Thus, Jerusalem was captured and destroyed by the Babylonians led by King Nebuchadnezzar. The house of Akobi spent 70 summers in Babylon and Assyria according to prophecy. It was not until King Cyrus of Persia, which is Elam, signed a decree of return for the people of Judah. Ezra, Nehemiah, or Nehemiah, and the Bantus of Judah returned. They rebuilt the walls and the city, and reinstalled the ordinances previously established. Although many Bantus returned, many were in positions like Esther, who was originally named Hadassah, and Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, still lived abroad. Alexander of Macedonia defeated Persia, Medes, and the known world. After Alexander's death, Rome then ruled the world and the land of Jerusalem. Rome ruled the world during the days of the anointed son of the Almighty Sonini. The anointed son, Msindizi, meaning a savior, is known to the world as Jesus Christ. He was born in Bethlehem of Judah. When he was of age, he began a ministry to correct the many wrongs of his people. His ministry threatened the enemies of the Almighty Creator, thus the enemies of the Almighty murdered his anointed. His apostles and disciples, such as Peter and Paul, continued the spread of the gospel. Paul continued a ministry abroad to the nations where the Bantus were still scattered. Nevertheless, Jerusalem was destroyed again and the people scattered to the four winds. The land was divided for gain by the nations and the people are based, even to this day.
Their records, their writings, books, ledgers, and family genealogy were confiscated and amended and are employed by the world as religious documents utilized by institutions for good, but mostly evil. John, the Revelator, received revelations concerning events in the latter days. His works are written in the book of Revelation. This is the navigation of the Bible Project 2.0. To dive deeper, join our class and team. Go to kingdomofpriests.com. The revolution will be by the Almighty Spirit, not by might or power. Receive the Spirit. Go to kingdomofpriests.com today.
Greeting and welcome to unprofitablelies.com, an arm to BibleStudyMinistry.com, an online Bible study supplement source.